Hey everyone, Nashi here. So today I'm just going to make a quick video on the particular crystals or gems I use in my gear. I get this question on the regular, so I'm using this as a video to link to them every time that question pops up and just defer them to this video. Um, so the crystals I use might be considered unique among the community. Not really uh, staples for large scale or siege. So take that in consideration. This is like a more dualistic or skirmisher type perspective that I built these crystals for. Some I'm actually just using for the moment until I get replacements, and I'll go over that as I move through the list. So currently at soft cap, the first crystals I have in my helmet are the Black Magic Crystal Intimidate. This is so that I get much higher resistance on knockdown, bound, and stun stiff resistance. As you can see with looking at my stun stiff resistance, when you consider the fact that I have Nova, which gives 10% resistance to all, Griffin, which gives 5% resistance to all, and of course food buffs, when you take that into consideration, which I'll go ahead and pop a Cron Meal, which gives 4% resistance, it'll end up putting you at the 59%. Actually, wait a minute. I don't think that actually stacked. It's weird. Anyways, 59%. Then when you get villas, that's another, I think, 10% as well. You run and get villas. Bear with me. By the way, tent is OP. Super pay to win. Ain't can even deny it. Get it if you can. Shit's super convenient. So yeah, for some reason the Cron Meal didn't up my resistance. That's interesting. I didn't even notice that before. I wonder if that's actually working as intended or not. Um, anyway, so with Cron Meal potentially, um, as well as villas, I end up at 69% stun stiff freeze, as well as knockdown bound. That's pretty solid. Means against most classes, I'll resist a knockdown, or bound, or stun stiff resist, which stun stiffs are pretty common. You're going to run into those all the time, and in large scale scenarios, you're going to get knocked down all the fucking time. Um, so that's pretty easy resistances to get up without actually like really focusing on them. The next resistances are the Black Spirit Hysterias. So I don't have Jin's. I believe Jin is the one that gives the extra stamina. Let's see. So yes, Jin gives the extra stamina, gives a little bit extra, gives 25 more per gem. That's pretty key. I mean, we need as much stamina as we can get. And having the +1 movement speed is really nice for getting max movement speed. You are able to get max movement speed without going to Hysterias, but it just makes it much easier. I mean, if you end up focusing on a build that actually utilizes full crit by doing like a Bond Karme, and then putting a pay-to-win gem into your outfit for +2 movement speed, you can get max movement speed pretty easily. And then you can allocate these gems to something else. But the stamina is what's really important here. Um, so if you're comfortable with having a little bit less stam, that's up to you. But right now I'm using these until my build basically has some sort of different variation. So the next one would be in the chest. I use an attendance reward, the giant gem, which gives a 100 HP as well as stun stiff freeze resistance plus 10% and all damage reduction plus 10 or plus 2. Um, this you're not going to get if you're a newer player right away, but I think they do get it in their new player attendance reward, or maybe returning player attendance reward. I can't remember. But this I got a long time ago. And if you still have it, I recommend using it. If not, then you can stick with either doing a Kobe, or you can, like I do here, the Black Spirit Kobe, or you can get a whatchamacallit? You can do a Vigor for the HP, or you can do an Armor. I would probably go with the Vigor. So that's something to consider. Or if you just want a lot more HP, you can go with just 2 Kobe's. But if you're looking at resistances, maybe get a Vigor. So that's an option for you. Special Evasion used to be one that everyone was using before, but with how it works, it's a little weird, and with it being DR meta, you want as much HP and DR as possible nowadays, so unless you're going Evasion build, then Special Evasion is an option for you. But Special Evasion, basically, I think from what the tests say, it reduces a special attack such as a crit or a down attack or a back attack into a normal attack. It doesn't actually resist damage, or it doesn't actually evade damage. So something to consider. So that's what I'm setting up with right now. And then of course the 2 times Jin Vipers, essential. If you're going to go full AP like I am, you need to have enough accuracy to support it. Right now I have 269 accuracy, and that allows me to go full AP because this accuracy bonuses, they don't apply to the sheet, and now that does the BMC precisions, which I'll go over in a second. So that's 56 extra accuracy that gets added onto this total right here that you see. So I actually have around 340 plus 350, so it's actually pretty good. It's solid. It's a solid amount of accuracy, and when you enhance your gems or your accessories further, get into the tets, you get 4 accuracy per enhancement extra. So this would be another 4, that would be another 4, so that's 8. Then you got, 12, 16, 20, that's 20 extra accuracy right there, and then another 4 right here. So it starts adding up, and the higher your accessories get, it gives you more supporting accuracy, which you need less of overall into your build. So something to keep in mind. That's why you see a whole bunch of people going full AP now, because the accuracy isn't as much of a need, because everyone's rocking Urgans and Griffin. They're not running Muskins anymore or evasion builds as much. So that's the reasoning behind that. So on the main hand, like I said, BMC Precisions, I'm running 2 of them right now. You can get away with 1. You can even run without them. However, you're going to notice that you have a big problem ignoring CCs, and we're a combo-based class. So that's why I run 2 of these. It helps me make sure that my CCs connect, and when I'm comboing, they don't break out midway and punish me. So I want to make sure when I catch them, I combo them and I kill them. That's the intended goal. So if you find that your CCs are being broken a lot, it's probably because you don't have 2 of these, or you don't have enough ignore resistance, which ignore resistance you can stack from villas, which right here you get 5 from the villa, and then you get 4 from food. So that's 9 extra right there, and then of course you also get some from your Alchemy of Destruction Stone, which is another 4, or 5, or 6, or 7, depending on what scale and level you have. But the typical is around 4 or 5, sturdy or sharp. So stack some ignore resist if you're having some issues getting your combos to connect or fully CC your targets, so that might be your problem. Another option is getting a Bon Carme, which, let me show you that. Main hand. Bon Carme. Bon Carme gives 2 crit, 1 attack speed, and 3 AP. So the reason why you'd want to use this is if you're going for like a Archer Arena build, or you feel you have enough ignore resistance that you don't have a problem comboing, and you want to max out your crit, so your overall damage output to be higher. The more often you crit, the more damage you deal, therefore your combos are a lot more effective and dangerous. Yada yada yada. Vert runs 1 precision, 1 Bon Carme. I haven't made a Bon Carme yet, so it's the only reason why I don't have one. I'll be testing it out to see how it feels. It's most likely going to be fine. So then that would put me at max crit with this setup, which would be pretty nice. And then I won't have to run like shock elixirs or anything like that to buff myself fully during large scale. That just means my damage output would be significantly higher on average, because I'll be critting more often. So something to consider there. And then in the offhand, this is going to be the most controversial item or gems that probably most every Maehwa is probably not using. So I am using these Magic Crystals of Infinity. This is actually a recent development because someone brought this to my attention. And basically, I'll show you these in the marketplace. These are crystals you crush on the norm when you're doing crates or trying to get black spirits or black magic powder. Ignore stun resistance. So here it goes right here. So when you're looking at these gems, they are very deceiving. The tooltips are bullshit. So it says item effect, ignore stun resistance plus 10%. This actually is not only stuns. And this goes for every single one of these except for the ones that are specific, like counterattacks. Counterattacks, speed attacks, those are a little bit different. And the back attacks, down attacks, yada yada. Those are extra damage to those specific things. So those are different. But things that ignore resistances, like stun, there's also a knockback. This actually means knockback and float. Knockdown means knockdown and bounds. And stuns means stiff stuns and freezes, so that you have a reference. And when you actually put those into your offhand, you actually get the full tooltip, which reads ignore stun, stiff, and freeze resistance 10%. So essentially right now I am running 40% ignore resistance in just my gear. So I ignore stun, stiff, freeze by 40%. And then you add an alchemy stone, that's another 4%, food, another 4%, and villa, another 5%. So it's over 50% ignore resistance. So usually people can get their stiff stun resist about 40%, 49% with just villas, food, and not doing BMC gems like Intimidate or the Giant Gem. But if they do, they end up with a resistance very similar to mine. I basically cut that all down, and they're basically at 20%. So my CCs work very effectively by doing that. And you probably have noticed in more recent PvP videos I've posted, a lot of my combos don't break as often anymore. So I don't know if you want to go back and rewatch videos, old videos, and then compare them to more recent videos like this week that I posted. You'll notice my combos are actually connecting fully in almost every single fight. So that's a new interesting thing that I'm testing right now. I did internal testing with these, and without these, I was actually getting about a 50% CC chance on someone that had 70 stun, stiff, freeze resistance, which actually matched what they actually had resistance-wise, because at 70, I had 2 precision gems, which brings them about 50%. So I was getting my CCs, like stiff and stun, resisted quite a bit. When I put these on, I had an 83% success rate on the test that I did, which doesn't really make sense. Technically, I should have around a 60% success rate, but with the sample size I did of like 30 attempts on with and 30 attempts without, I had a 50% on the without, and I had an 83% success rate with. So a larger sample size would probably even that out a little bit more, but it was definitely very apparent that these were working effectively. And I've noticed it a lot more in my duels. And you can see that by watching the videos yourself and getting your own judgment and testing this out yourself. So that's something to consider. I am probably going to look at maybe using one of these, and then the second one would be the knockback and float resist one. So where's it at? Where's it at? Right here. So I might do this because this is float resistance as well as knockback ignore. So that would mean my red moon, my moonrise, my cloud stab, all those floats would be a little bit more effective. They would have 30% ignore rather than only 20, plus alchemy stone, food, and villa. Um, so that's something I'm considering. That would put it at around ignore 40% ish or a little bit above, and that would actually keep this around the stun stiff about a little bit over 40% as well. Right now it's currently a little over 50%, so let me see if I can math today. So 20, 40, 44, 49, if this actually works, 53. So currently at 53 stun stiff ignore. If I were to split that off and make it 43 and 43 for stun stiff and then float, that might actually be better. So I'm considering that. Although I haven't had too many problems with my float resistance. I don't know. It's hard to tell. I'm going to have to do some internal testing and see what I like. But yeah, that's my gems right now. That's what I'm rocking. Some other options for this, which I was running previously and what I told a lot of people to do, is do 1 crit gem, which I will show in here. Where's it at? 1 critical gem for the 10% crit damage, and then 1 Volterra's Spirit Crystal or an Awakened Black Spirit Crystal. The Volterra's is the same damn thing, except it has Kama monster damage, so it's the only reason why to use it, is if you go to Kama. Otherwise, the Awakened Black Spirit is better. So yeah, that's the other options for the sub weapon. And they do fine. They increase your overall damage, but when I tested this and was utilizing these, I did not notice a damage decrease. At least nothing significant. Very minimal, if anything. And I felt a lot more confident in my CCs by using these. So, take it for what it's worth. It's my opinion. If you feel that, my opinion actually matters in this case, give them a try yourself. Let me know how you feel about them in the comments below. Alright, take it easy, guys.